I was born in Galax, Virginia, not too awfully far from Boone, I guess. Then to Reidsville, North Carolina, Reidsville, then to Mooresville. And Mooresville is really where I grew up. So I probably moved there when I was 4 or 5 years old. So at the age of 13, moved on to Greensboro. And in Greensboro is where I moved on through high school. Of course, I go on to App State. It was 1979, headed up freshman year, and I packed by a little Vega. It's a little white Chevy Vega that we bought used for, I'm sure, less than $1,000 at the time. That needed to get me up the mountain. The Vega did not really want to go up that mountain very often. So once I finally got to the top of the mountain, got to Boone, I kind of stayed there. And if I ever left the mountain, I'm going to be in the car with somebody else. So I really had a great semester. That first semester grew a bunch. Academically, I did not have any idea where I was headed. Sometime during my sophomore year, I took a business class, and I found accounting. Some people, think accounting's math. Accounting's not math. I mean, you got to be decent at math, but accounting's about following rules, and it's about structure. And it was just felt like a natural place, for me to be. It just sort of pulled me in. Much like I think Appalachian State does to a lot of students, a lot of people. It's like, hey, you're welcome here. I'm going to pull you in, and you're going to find your way. And it was just like that next layer for me was to be able to find that within the Walker College of Business. When I think about graduating or the graduation sort of process at Appalachian, so here we are, spring 1983, that semester was a semester like no other for me, and probably not for what you're thinking. I studied for the CPA exam. I literally studied. I would 6 in the morning till 10 at night, took the exam first week of May, and then there's about 10 days between taking the exam and graduation. I fit in an entire senior year of partying in those 10 days. And I passed it. But it was really my goal to work in public accounting. And not only just public accounting, but I wanted to be with one of the big firms. And at the time, there was the big 8 firms. But I knew I was prepared to move into the world, and I knew I was ready to go. My foot was on the gas. I just had to find a place to drive to. I didn't have a job at the time that I drove out of Boone. When I got back to my parents' house that afternoon, I had a job. I had interviewed with a company in Mocksville, and that day, as I was driving home, they had called my house and told me, it's like, come to work next week. So that was great. So I had a first job. So about 2 years into my position there in Mocksville, I had an opportunity to go work for a very small CPA firm. But it was a terrific firm. Was there for 7 years. Another really good thing happened as I was toward the end of that career. That's when I met my wife. We met each other 86, I think. She'll probably correct me when she sees this. And then we got married in 1990. We moved to D.C., and I enrolled full-time in an MBA program at Georgetown University. But I had an opportunity to join Ernst & Young as an intern. But I was on a large engagement in Kentucky, and it was a life insurance company that had failed. And while I was doing that work, I found fraud. And there I was, I found myself at the middle of this investigation. That's where I became what I ended up doing for the next 25 years, which was forensic accounting. People ask me, well, forensic accounting, what does that mean? It's a big puzzle. You're having to put together the pieces to determine, is there fraud? Why is there fraud? It's the world of white-collar crime is where the forensic accounting ends up sort of taking you. But I know I want to work with a big accounting firm. And fortunately, KPMG was looking for someone to help start this practice in the Southeast with a focus on the Carolinas. We relocated to Atlanta with KPMG. I was able to find a profession that I thoroughly enjoyed. It was fun, it was interesting, it was challenging. It just took me a long time to get there. I mean, it was probably 15 years later, but the path took me to exactly what I wanted to do when I left Appalachian State. Wow, coming back to Boone, coming back to Appalachian, as the sort of mountains unfold and everything's in front of you, I mean, it just immediately just brings a sense of peace. You know, it kind of moves from this like sense of peace to this sense of energy. And I'm just, once you sort of get on campus, it just sort of gets me just fired up to be in and around the area. Appalachian to this day continues to enable me to sort of be around the people that inspire me and to be able to come back and be a part of the university in any way that I can. I always say, I'm here. I've got a few more dances left in me, everybody, so feel free to always give me a call. I had a chance to join the foundation board, became treasurer of the foundation and served 2 terms as the head of the finance committee. And if you look at what's happening on campus with all of the capital projects and just continuing to support the faculty and the students here at the school. So I was very proud to be able to contribute some time and a lot of effort during my years of service there. So the Walker College of Business was housed in what was known as Walker Hall. And, here in 1980, the college had not been formed but for maybe 5 years. And of course, Walker Hall was not able to keep up with that demand. And as they moved, across River Street to Peacock Hall, as it is known today, and look where it is now. It now has the largest undergraduate business school in the state of North Carolina. It has now outgrown its ability to continue to meet that demand for the students. So the Peacock Hall expansion started about a year ago. I'm very proud of what the advisory council did for that program. We made a challenge to all of the members that we could raise $1 million within that group to facilitate the building process. And we did it. That was something that was accomplished with the support of the group and some prodding on behalf of the advancement staff. We were able to make that goal. I do say that if it wasn't for App State, I wouldn't be here, almost literally, in the fact that my parents actually met at Appalachian State back in the early 50s. My father attended Appalachian State, so he was the first college student of his family, first generation student. He was a part of the athletics program also. He was a basketball player. He also played baseball. And that's what brought him to Appalachian. My dad oftentimes will refer to basketball as really what made him and gave him opportunity. But I remember meeting, this was after I was involved with some of the boards and councils up here, having a chance to hear from Dustin Kearns, Coach Kearns, and he made the group aware that we didn't have practice facilities. They said, well, we're trying to get a practice facility and redo a building that's here on campus right up next to the football field. But when I mentioned that to my dad, I remember him looking at me, he's going, well, what can we do about that, son? He said, well, just figure out what it is that they need, and I'd love to help out. So here we are. We're in that building today. My father's gift is acknowledged, up here as a sign of appreciation at the practice facility at the Quinn Center. And it's really cool just to know that his name sort of sticks around the campus and associated with the basketball program, which was a really big part of his experience here, and as I mentioned, just with his entire life. It's really special to be recognized. I know there's a lot of people who give a lot of time and effort and money to this university. I feel like this recognition of being today, and first of all, thank you very much. I'm humbled, beyond words to receive this award. But I just know there's so many other terrific people who are doing great work that are going to be recognized in the future. I'm just one in a group of a bunch that have been able and fortunate enough to serve. And again, I just want to thank everybody at the university for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this.